A website can play multiple roles. The best starting point is understanding what you want your website to do. Is it portfolio, showing your case studies, or is it a lead generation tool? Maybe both. If you're a startup, sometimes your website's talking to investors, but then the messaging is different than for potential customers. So you want to think about how you're going to use it and then take that forward into, okay, now let's build this thing. Where are we going to start?
Hello and welcome to the Amanda Kaufman Show. This is an interview that I did with Jeffro, and I am so excited to share it with you. I managed to leave the spotlight in the Zoom setting on the whole time. And I thought about recutting the entire episode. I thought about asking Jeffro to sit down again and do everything. But I realized that was not exactly in the spirit of what I am all about as a coach, as a practitioner, and really the spirit of the Coaches That Don't Suck series that Jeffro is a part of. This is an awesome interview, and I don't want to ask him to do it again, but I am going to put a still picture of myself when I'm talking, and you're just going to have to deal with the fact that it's not perfectly curated. Part of the journey of building this business has been finding new ways to screw up. It doesn't mean that the interview sucks. It doesn't mean that I suck. It means that I have one more thing to add to my checklist before I do other interviews. Rest assured, as soon as I saw that was a mistake, I corrected it. Don't miss this episode with Jeffro. One of the things that is absolutely essential to having a really powerful presence online is to have a good website. I spent so long beating myself up about not having the right design aesthetic, not knowing what the right technology was. When I finally hired someone like Jeffro, I was able to get those foundations and fundamentals in place and show up like the pro that I am online. Well, hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And we're continuing our series on coaches that don't suck. I'm joined by my friend Jeffro, and we met in another coaching program. I was intrigued because Jeffro, you are I'll let you introduce yourself, but I'm going to tell you why you caught my eye, and it was funny. Is we in the coaching program, we connected on the Instagram, and you had a very intriguing profile photo, and part of what caused me to reach out to you. So why don't you take 30 seconds and introduce yourself and give me a little bit of background on the Instagram.
Sure. My name's Jeffro. I have a company called Fro Web Technologies. That may have been the picture you saw, my logo with the big fro and sunglasses, that thing, right? It's
Exactly.
memorable. It's fun. And it's me and my personality, and that's the brand. So when you're getting me, you're getting my experience, the business that I've built to help other service businesses create a business website that's actually good, that actually helps the business. And because there's different extremes, right? You can have a website that looks really good, but it doesn't bring you any clients. Then you can have one that's really ugly that just turns people off and they never click through.
I'm
I want to
familiar
educate.
with.
Well, it's a process. We can dive into any aspect of it that you want to today. So I'm excited to be here.
Hey, thanks for accepting my invitation to do this, because I think one thing that a lot of coaches really struggle with is they do want to have, a beautiful web presence. They want to project their professionalism and all of that. I just found you to be so approachable when we were talking. I know what it was like when I was starting out. I felt everybody was trying to sell me on their website and their templates. I thought it'd be really fun to just have a more chill conversation about websites for coaches that really don't want to suck. They want to show up in the world and they want to win. What would you say are some of the things that help a coach if they were to do their website themselves? Let's start there. What should they really be paying attention to?
Yeah, you should remember that first impressions matter, especially when someone's looking for a coach. Most of the time, they're looking for someone that is beyond where they are. So if I'm looking for a coach and I see, "Man, my website's better than theirs," lose confidence in the fact that they can help me. So make sure that the website looks professional. And that can be done a number of ways, but it usually, unless you're a designer, doing it yourself probably isn't going to get you there. So that's where it comes. There's plenty of people that can do it, price levels. The differences that you get, we can talk about. But at the low end, you might get a website that looks good, but it might not be designed with conversion in mind. So maybe they didn't write good copy because they're not a copywriter. They just followed a good looking template. You want it to look good. But if you want it to actually convert, you need someone who's also got a copywriter on their team who can write the messaging that really connects with that visitor so they're drawn in and actually want to contact you. There's all these factors that go into it that you can stack that. You start where you can afford now and then always be improving it. A website's never done. So if you look at it through
Ooh,
that
that's
lens, like
good.
this
That's
is
gold.
this is my first impression, like do this, do this, do this. Not like do a template once and then never think about it again. That's not going to work. You got to start where you're at and just keep improving.
I love it. That's so helpful because when I went through my coaching certification, I had this idea that I could just hang a shingle and people would know I was in the world. It turned out that was not the case. I had to go out and really meet people. So the role that my website played was really a reinforcement after we met in person somehow, or a
Hmm.
reinforcement like after meeting on social media somehow. Can you speak to us about if we did want to hire somebody because our core genius is coach and we don't want to spend too much time outside of our genius, but you did just point out something that I think is really common, and that is there's so many people that are vying for this business. I can't open my messenger without a bunch of DMs saying, "Here, let me fix your website." So if somebody was shopping, and I know you're an expert and you do this, but if you were to recommend somebody to go shopping and to interview people that could help, how do you make sure you spend a good dollar? Like you're going to get a return on that investment with the website developer. What should people be looking for and asking about?
That's a great question. Before I fully answer it, I want to touch on something you mentioned at the beginning of how you had your website as a place for people to go after they met you. A website can play multiple roles. The best starting point is understanding what you want your website to do. Is
Mm,
it portfolio, showing your case studies, or is it a lead generation tool? Maybe both. If you're a startup, sometimes your website's talking to investors, but then the messaging is different than for potential customers. So you want to think about how you're going to use it and then take that forward into, okay, now let's build this thing. Where are we going to start? So in order to do that, you want to look for someone obviously that has experience. But if you understand what you're doing, now I know, okay, not only do I need someone who can make it look good, I need it to actually sound good with the messaging. So that means you're probably going to be paying a little bit more because you need an additional skill to have the messaging done right. For my company, if we're doing everything for you, we're probably starting at $6,000 because we're doing custom design, custom copy, custom implementation, integrations to your backend, CRM, whatever you're doing. Whereas if you don't have that budget yet and you're okay, I just need a starter website, I can generate you one with AI that our tools have for $500. It's going to be good enough to start with. It's not as good as that $6,000 website. Obviously, there's a lot more that
right.
goes into that. You're going to have a lot more conversions on the other one. But
Speak to just real quick about what is the difference in experience? Because I've definitely invested in coaching and courses and all those kinds of things. When you go to help somebody at the $500 level, there's going to be a level of interaction, right? And I have to imagine like at the $6,000 level, it's like a process. It's a real
yeah,
project. Can you just describe that so that people can have an idea of what it's like
sure.
to work with a real pro?
Yeah, so for the $500 website, you fill out a form that tells me some questions, information about your business and who you serve, your services and stuff. And then I spit out a website. I say, here you go. Luck. With the other one, we have an onboarding meeting. You're still going to fill out some forms. They're going to be more detailed forms, and I'm going to ask a lot more questions about who your target customer is, what they care about, your price points. We're going to get into more details because I'm going to need to hand that to my copywriting team and say, we got to figure out messaging on this site. That's the first thing we do. We don't start with the design. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap of the first thing they do, like, I need a website. Let me go pick a template that I like. The problem with that is that when you get the messaging, you're shoehorning it in. You're like, oh, they didn't really leave me enough space. I had more to say, but it doesn't fit in the template. So then you're cutting stuff out, and that's hurting your ability to connect with your audience. So we start with the copy first, then we come up with a homepage design as a first pass. We bring that back to the client. Say, oh, here's what we've come up with as our initial thoughts with the design and the messaging. What do you think? Do a round of feedback, talk about it, and if we need to make tweaks, we do that. And once we're happy with the way the homepage look and feel, if they like it, great, good direction. We'll build out the other pages and review the copy and design. After we get that done, then we do the integrations. If there's any custom forms that we're doing with built-in conditional logic, if someone fills out a form, they select, I'm in this region, we can automatically have that form submission go to this sales guy versus that one. We can automatically upload files into this Google Drive folder over here. So whatever integrations you have, if we need to send out a PDF for signature, we can do all that. But that comes after we built the site to make it more functional for you on the back end as the business owner. And
That's
then
really
we test
cool.
it, make it go live, and that's kind of the process. It usually takes 6 to 8 weeks. Sometimes it's 4 to 6, depending on the customer and how on top of it they are with getting back to us and
How
helping.
many edits you have. But I think sometimes people think, goodness, like I'll never forget a story. I had a person that I was talking to about possibly working together on their strategy for their coaching business. And they said, I gave this agency $15,000 and I didn't get one single lead. I was like, if you'd listen to maybe a podcast like this where you hear what the actual experience should be like, you would realize that if an agency is promised to help you with lead generation, for example, if you don't have a single lead, it's hard to manage a process you don't understand.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. Now, something that came up as I was thinking about this is a lot of coaches really want to hold back on their presence online. I know I have an opinion on this, but I'm super curious what yours is. If a coach is starting out and they have a certification, but they're still working out the specifics of the target market they want to work with, or maybe they're still generating some of those very first testimonials, at what stage do you think they should have a website or be thinking about this? Is it something that they should have right out the gate, even if they're working on a lot of the messaging? Or is this something that they should maybe wait on, stick with the link tree? What do you think is a good strategy for a coach that's finding themselves and figuring out who they want to serve?
I think the sooner you can have the website, the better, just because
Okay.
that first impression, it makes you look more professional. And the other reason to do it sooner is because you'll realize how much you haven't figured out. Right? When you start writing this messaging, you're like, oh, how do I, how am I positioning myself? How am I different from everybody else? And it'll force you to think through that and find your niche or your differentiators. Otherwise, you're just going to sit there in the sea of sameness for a long time and wonder why nobody's finding you or caring or picking you out of the pile, right?
Yeah, I really love that. And it's also super validating on my own experience. I built several websites and social media things and did a lot of workshops and stuff. And it honestly, in the beginning, felt a little like slinging spaghetti at the wall. But by doing that, I faced those demons or monsters that were scaring me out of even starting. My current website is way better than it was when I started. I used to joke that I had a unique talent for taking a beautiful template and making it hideous. And
You're not the only one.
I think that's like a common struggle. You obviously believe in coaching, and it's one of the reasons why I invited you. Is can you share with us a little bit about the role that coaching has played in your journey?
Sure. We all have blind spots, and coaching is a great way to shine a light on those. I think to be a good coaching student, we have to be ready to receive feedback and criticism. A lot of times when we're first starting out, we're too insecure and we don't want to know what's wrong, or if somebody points it out, it hurts too much. But when you get to the point where, you know what, screw that, I'd rather make progress. So I'm going to pay somebody to tell me what's wrong or what to do better, and then I can move a lot faster. It's just so helpful having someone who's gone where I want to be before. They've seen all the pitfalls and traps. They've gone through all the mistakes already and said, okay, here's what you're doing wrong. Here's what you need to be doing. It's not that complicated. Or you're just not doing it. Whatever they need to do to slap you around a little bit. We all need that sometimes, right? Because we
Yeah.
overcomplicate things. We're too close to it sometimes, right? And we just can't see that if I just take a step back or fix these things, I'm going to make a lot of progress.
Good coaches can make you go so much faster and avoid a lot of the pitfalls along the way. That's super aligned to how I think about a coach is and what makes a good coach. I was going to ask you, what are the three things that you think make a really great winning coach, like somebody that is very likely to succeed? What do you notice is one of those top three things that they do perhaps differently from the sea of sameness?
I think they have to have good perspective, right? And that usually means they're farther than where I am. There are a
Right.
lot of people who are just starting out as coaches who maybe feel insecure because they don't know if they're good enough yet. And that comes across, right? So a good coach has done it. They know their stuff. They don't feel like they need to prove anything and know they can help you. So that's really
That's
helpful because
great.
they just get right to the point. So that's number one. Number two is they have different levels of resources, right? Different ways they can help people. Not everyone's ready to pay $10,000 a year or even a month for really high-end coaches. You can't just start there in most cases. They might have a free guide, they might have a podcast or YouTube channel where they break stuff down. maybe some cheat sheets or courses. You have an entry point where you can start learning from them. If you apply the stuff, you will make progress so that you're ready for the next level.
See,
And I
that,
think
my
that's really
friend, is
helpful.
exactly why I invited you here, right? Is because I knew that given your expertise, given how serious you are about your business, I was so confident that you would have something really amazing to share in your zone of genius with my audience. And as a coach, I'm helping people with their branding messaging. I'm helping people with their confidence to show up and to translate that certification into something really meaningful. But I, relatively speaking, on the website development, the lead conversion, I'm a dabbler, right? As compared to you, for example. The goal with this whole series is to give people actionable perspective that is going to move them out of that insecurity, because so many times people have extremely valuable experience, they're just not stepping into sharing it. Right? Yeah.
Right.
So good. I think I cut you off at number two. I'm so sorry.
We can continue in that vein. I was going to say the website helps support this
Mhm.
because you can promote all your different offerings and ways you can help people. As you're getting started and talking to people, you're probably realizing, oh, I don't have a good way to help this person yet. Might just say, sorry, I don't think we're a good fit yet, but come back in 6 months or when you hit this revenue mark. It's better if you can say, you know what, I don't think we're a good fit yet. Check out my book or my YouTube channel right now. There's some stuff that I think will help you right now where you're at. And then I'll follow up in a few months to see how things are going. You want to have a place to send someone, you want to help them instead of just shutting the door, unless it's absolutely totally outside your realm. You need to know that
Yeah.
up front. But
You are hitting on something that is a big annoyance of mine from the industry in general, which is this churn and burn of relationships. When I reached out to connect with you, I was like really not sure of, are you somebody that I might buy from? Are you somebody that might just be a friend? Are you somebody that we could collaborate? It turned out we were
mhm,
collaborative, right? Are you somebody that I could help? I think sometimes when we approach relationships, we can be like, if you're not a client, you're not worthy, or I'm scared to talk to
transactional,
you because I don't want to
right?
get sold to. That's a big one. I'm scared to talk to you because I'm scared of being sold to. And having a great website and a great web presence, it just shows the world more explicitly, like who you are, what you're about, and how you can help without having to turn and burn through the relationships.
Yeah. On the website portion you just mentioned, it's okay if you don't get it right the first time. Even
Mm.
my own website took a long time. Like I felt I could do other people's websites way better and more efficiently, but doing my own was really hard.
I
And I
think
think that's
that's
the
like
case
a
for most
rite
of
of
us.
passage, this cobbler with
Yeah.
no shoes thing.
And I'm sure it's the same as a coach because you're trying to figure out, okay, how am I different? What do I highlight? Is it weird if I'm saying I'm good at this? Like, no, you're a coach. You have to point out what you're good at. That's essentially what you're selling is yourself, your experience, and your ability to help other people. So yes, draw attention to that. Do it through case studies in various ways, but you need to figure that out. Otherwise, why should people hire you?
And what I love about this whole conversation and really taking a whole episode to just talk about your website is, I think there's so much attention that goes to the new shiny thing of, oh, here's this new feature on Instagram, or let's use these bots for this. And what's really interesting is I've been in business as a coach online for about 8 years personally. There's basically two things digitally that have been the same the whole time. Well, maybe three. One of those is your website. One is your email list. And then the third thing that's probably more like a YouTube sort of presence, or a Facebook presence, or an Instagram, at least one of those
Hmm.
where you've been consistent and reliable and present. But it all comes back to this website and what's your domain.
Yeah.
Coaches that have at gmail.com on their email address, I mean, you're laughing. You probably agree with me here. It's just, you're not all in yet. So why would somebody be all in on you?
And that's a
Yeah.
huge giveaway to someone who's not serious. It just means you haven't evolved with the times. You're not keeping up, investing in that personal brand or your business brand to do things the right way. You're not committed. I don't know if you're going to leave tomorrow.
Sometimes we tell ourselves, I don't have $500. I can't hire Jeffro. And a lot of this stuff you can cobble together on YouTube to just demonstrate the caring. And I love that. I think that's really important. What would you say to somebody who says, I'm not techie? What would you say to that mindset?
There are plenty of people who are ready
Talk
and
to a
willing to
student.
help you. It's not an objection. There's any of those things that you get stuck on. You got to step back and realize, okay, I'm just keeping myself safe right now. Maybe there's an insecurity here. Maybe I just need to meet more people and for recommendations from other coaches who helped them and how they got there. But you can't let that be an excuse. Obviously, if there's people who've done this, they figured out there's a way forward.
Put the goal ahead of your excuse. I love that. All right, Jeffro, this was so fun. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you. If people wanted to get to know you better, what's the super best way to that?
I've got my website, frobro.com. On there, you'll see all my different services we provide, web design, SEO, hosting, and all of that. I've got a podcast, Digital Dominance. You can see it on my background if you're doing the video version of the podcast, digitaldominancepodcast.com. It's on Apple, Spotify, and everything. And we talk about digital marketing for service businesses. It includes coaches, in my opinion. That's a service, obviously. So
Yes.
we talk about ads and Facebook and social media, copywriting, all of these things. So that's a great way to get good advice. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I've got the business account at Frobro Web and my personal one at jeffro.official, which I recently started posting there. So you won't see a ton of posts, but I'm going to be doing a lot more. If you follow me on Instagram, send me a DM with the word audit. Because you're a listener to this podcast, I'll give you a free website audit where I record a video, go through your website, say, hey, this is something you could fix and tweak and upgrade, or it'll help.
Amazing. That's so generous. And I'm going to make sure that we have all your links in the show notes as well. And hey, before we go, make sure that you subscribe and give us a wonderful rating for this amazing episode because it'll help other people choose to listen. I'm so excited to have had you here, Jeffro. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks, Amanda.